Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 9. We will present about the education from the 1970s. Our group members are Husna binti Abdul Ghani, which is me, Aisha Fatnin, As-Sunniya, and Nur Kistina. The table of contents are: the first one is Cabinet Committee Report 1979. Number 2, Integrated Primary School Curriculum KBSR, Educational Dualism. And the last one is First World Conference on Muslim Education. Cabinet Committee Report 1979. This report is chaired by Dr. Mahathir Mohamad in September 1974. The objective of the report mentioned to review the goals and effectiveness of the present education system for the purpose of meeting the manpower needs of the country, both for the short and long terms. Besides, to also ensure the education system meets the country's goals of producing a united, disciplined and skilled society. This aim is similar to Education Act 1961 and Hussein Report 1971, which was to promote national unity. Okay, what are the recommendations? Okay. As the objective of the report mentioned, to ensure the education system meets the country's goals of producing a united, disciplined and skilled society. So the first one, the society must focus on 3 basic skills first, which are reading, writing and arithmetic. Okay. The second one is teaching of English as second language. Emphasis on sound spiritual education and other disciplines appropriate. Number 4, secondary education divided into 2 streams, which is academic and vocational. Number 5, extension of educational opportunities of from 9 to 11 years. Number 6, emphasis on curriculum ala Malaysia. And the last one is review of Bahasa Malaysia in service courses. Okay. What are the impacts after that? KBSR and KBSM were established. These two curriculums is to improve the previous curriculum, which is KLSR. And more vocational schools were established. It means that students who are not interested in academic, they can still pursue their study in vocational schools. And students in the vocational schools also have an opportunity to fill the job vacancy in factories. Bahasa Malaysia and English became the compulsory subject for MCE or SPM. All students may take SPM 2 years after they have sat for SRP exam. Next, extension of educational opportunities from 9 years to 11 years. English is taught as the second language, and previously, the duration of teacher training program is only 2 years, but it had been extended to 3 years. Civics is taught as a subject and being integrated across curriculum. This subject is to educate the society. And private schools need to be approved and registered by the appointed registrar. And lastly, many programs was conducted to enhance the education in the rural areas. As I mentioned about the objective of this report is to produce a skilled and educated society. So it's not only focused on urban areas but also in the rural areas.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Aisha Fatni binti Rosli. InsyaAllah, we will continue to KBSR, Kurikulum Bersepadu Sekolah Rendah. Before this, they call as Kurikulum Baru Sekolah Rendah, but after some changes in curriculum, then they changed to Kurikulum Bersepadu Sekolah Rendah. And today we have KSSR, Kurikulum Standard Sekolah Rendah. We go to the history of KBSR, response of Cabinet Committee Report 1979, and then in 1982, new primary school curriculum, which is KBSR, was first introduced and implemented in 305 primary school as a trial basis, which is they just conduct a new curriculum as a trial for only some school around Malaysia. And then in 1983, KBSR was fully enforced in all primary schools. And then for what? To improve the weaknesses of KLSR, which is curriculum lama sekolah rendah, like their subject was not flexible, less emphasized, and many more. The differences between KBSR and KLSR. KLSR, the syllabus was not flexible, and KBSR is more flexible. That's why today we have variety of subjects like kemahiran hidup, sejarah, English writing, or even English comprehension. And then the KLSR is to depends on textbook, but KBSR not to depend on textbook, which is teacher need to explain more about the subject itself. And then KLSR only focus on memorization, stress only on the surface. KBSR is overall development, which is to produce balanced individual, physically and intellectually, and emotionally, and to produce students who will have potential, also self-confidence. Okay, the last point is KLSR teacher-centered learning, means that the teacher present the information to students who are expected to passively receive the knowledge that has been presented. And then KBSR is student-centered learning, where the students are actively engaged and participate in their learning process, and the classroom will be more productive. Goal of KBSR: first, to increase literacy level among students, as they emphasize in 3M, reading, writing, and arithmetic. Second, develop their cognitive and thinking skill, which is in KBSR. They include critical and creative thinking question. Third, balance physical, emotional, spiritual, moral, social, and intellectual, as it has associated in national philosophy education. And lastly, to provide them with all-rounded individual development, which will help them operate efficiently within the social structure of this country. For example, students can develop both their physical and emotional element through physical activity. Like, teachers should always encourage students to take part in co-curriculum activities in order to inculcate the interest of students in sport. Students may control their own emotion by joining the school sport team. Talk about the objective of KBSR. There are three categories: communicative, man and his environment, and self-development. For communicative, first, Malay as the national and official language means that students must master the Malay language in accordance with its position as the national language and official language of the country. And second, English as the second language. They will be provide the basic understanding of English language so that they are able to communicate orally and also in writing. And third, arithmetic or computer skill, which is in the practical application of the mathematical concepts such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Also, they must master in ICT. Next, man and his environment, need for interest and sensitivity towards environment, which is a subject that emphasizes on environment, but in the same time include element of history, science, geography, health, and civic. And then self-development, provide opportunity to individual to develop their personal talents and potential. Also introduce their interest in aesthetic and attractive activities. There are a lot of activities did by teacher inside or outside classroom, such as doing art, group work, exploration, and many more, to find the hidden talent instead of being smart in examination. Okay, this is the principle of KBSR. Integrated approach between academic and non-academic, or between subject and non-subject, which is an approach to where the knowledge, skill, and values are combined to integrate the physical, emotional, spiritual, and intellectual aspect. Second, equal education for all students. As we know, the concept education fit for all, and the Malaysian education system allows students having free education from primary school to secondary school, then the same curriculum and syllabus of the subject. Okay, third, lifelong learning, which is learning that talk about life to improve knowledge, skill, and provide better quality of life. And conducive learning surrounding, for example, comfortable classroom setup, relevant teaching material, and interesting classroom activity to motivate students to learn. 5. Mastering 3M, reading, writing, arithmetic, and emphasize them. Also, the lastly is integrated assessment for all learning activities in the classroom, which is teacher should evaluate all aspects student achievement, not only examination. KBSR comprised to two phases, phase 1 for pupils in standard 1 to 3 and phase 2 for standard 4 to 6. Okay, for phase 1, they will be emphasized on the basic communication skill, reading, writing, and arithmetic. Mostly for standard 1, they must be able to master the 3M and then study basic numerical skill such as add, subtract, multiply, and divide. And lastly, emphasize the importance of moral and spiritual development that include in the subject moral education. Next, for phase 2, strengthen the and build this basic skill using this skill for thinking and communication. That means for analysis, interpretation, inference, explanation, self-regulation, and open-minded. Also problem solving. Okay, second, read, memorize, understand, and appreciate the teaching of Al-Quran and practicing values. For Muslim students, Islamic education has been included in the syllabus, while non-Muslim, there are moral education in syllabus. Okay, subject of man and his environment covers the element of geography, science, history, civic, health, education, and similar things. They must gain the knowledge about environment, also must be able to feel and see, especially doing experiment in the subject science and geography. Okay, this is for KPSR and I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Kristina Batrisha binti Muhammad Nasir, and now I will continue our presentation with educational dualism. Okay, first of all, we need to know what is the meaning of dualism. Dualism means the condition of being double of duality. Educational dualism is two educational systems that exist and are parallel to one another. The first one is the traditional religious and the other one is the secular national. Alright, for your information, the traditional Islamic education system is a religious one and relating to spiritual words such as Islamic history, Arabic, and fiqh, while the national education system, they are not a religious one and relating to physical words such as mathematics, science, and English. It has been called a crisis in Muslim education as it is the most urgent issue that was being faced by them. And this educational dualism bears negative consequences for Muslims. And as we all know, the Malaysian national education system is a legacy of British colonial education begun in the early 19th century and used until 1957 independence. When the British colonial left in 1957, Malaysian education was divided into two categories. The first one is traditional Islamic school and the second one is modern secular school, Malay and English vernacular. So this is the history. When the British came here, we have Quranic school, madrasah school, and traditional school, right? And then when British introduced to us vernacular school, they have Malay school, Indian school, English school, and Chinese school. And means that there are two types of system in Malaya at that time. The first one is the traditional religious school and the other one is the secular school, the one that British introduced to us. Later on, when British surrender, they changed to national school, but again, it still remains secular school. Then, in 1970s, government slowly changed modern secular school to national education and leaving traditional Islamic school on their own. And the education for Muslim in 1970s remained between the national schools and the religious madrasah or right school, and these two systems, which are national and secular school, they continued developed with the national system, and Muslim professionals were made from the local university or college, while the religious system, they produced educators and officers from universities through universities from the Middle East. Okay, now we take a look at national school system and Islamic religious school system. Alright, national school system such as the school that using national school system such as SK, Sekolah Kebangsaan, SJK, Sekolah Jenis Kebangsaan, Tamil and Chinese, and SMK, Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan. This national school system, they focus more on secular education, and they provide Islamic education too to the students, while the Islamic religious school systems such as Sekolah Menengah Agama (SMA), SRA Sekolah Rendah Agama, and SAR Sekolah Agama Rakyat. This Islamic religious school system, they are focusing more on subjects that relating to Islam, and most SAR, which is Sekolah Agama Rakyat, are funded by respective states. Okay, now we move to the aims. Alright, their aims of education are meeting a point of convergence. Both systems emphasize on the need to produce a morally excellent human being, balanced in many aspects through an integrated approach, and both stress the importance of knowledge and skills in an effort to contribute to the family, society, nation, and religion. And the NEP, National Education Philosophy, delineates aims of education that parallel aims of education in Islam, especially the explicit expression of belief in God and integration of values in all subjects, which can be viewed to eliminate secular value from the national system. And then national school system is now more inclined toward moral values, and this suits the Islamic system well. It's because they want to make sure that the national school system also teach Islamic religion or Islamic study, and then the importance attached to moral development in both systems parallels moral excellence as a goal of as Islamic philosophy of education. And we have two philosophy, which is I want to remind you that we have Islamic philosophy of education and national philosophy of education. And in Education Act 1961, non-Muslim students are free to get religious instruction. Both systems agree implicitly a fundamental goal of Ab and Khalifah, and both systems advocate that education should be integrated and holistic. And the concept of integrating moral values in every subject practiced in Islamic school system, because religious tradition of education, its definition and understanding of the teacher's roles, and both systems have grown more conscious of the need to develop practical skills, and both systems didn't give sufficient attention to the issue of national unity in their aims. Okay, lastly, I add about the importance of ending educational dualism. There are several other arguments that show the importance of ending this educational dualism. Okay, the first one is the religious school is weak financially, although it currently receives aid from state and federal government, and this situation hinders the development of the schools, especially in providing basic educational facility and getting enough teachers. The second one is, as an educational system, the religious school system does not subscribe to its own philosophy that education should be an ongoing effort. The religious school system only begins formally and full-time at the secondary school, while the primary education is provided for a few hours daily in a few states as a supplement to national primary education. A third argument that prays for the for the integration is the weakness of educational administration of religious schools, both state and rakyat. And finally, the integration of this educational system is vital from the perspective of national unity. So in short, what I can say about this educational dualism is, educational dualism means there are two types of systems that are parallel, and they're supposed to have one system. That's why when they combine these two systems, which is a secular and traditional system, that's why we call it integrated curriculum, which is KBSM. So that's all from me. We will continue to the next presenter. Thank you.
Okay. First World Conference on Muslim Education. Uh, when is the conference and where was held? Okay, it was held at Mecca campus from 31st March to 8th August 1977, and it was organized by King Abdul Aziz University and the government of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The backbones are Professor S.M. Naqib Al-Atas, Professor Sheikh Ali Ashraf, Dr. Abdullah Muhammad Zaid, Dr. J.N. Saqib, and others. The number of participants are over 300 Muslim scholars from 40 different parts that were invited by King Abdul Aziz. The proceedings was published by King Abdul Aziz University Jeddah in 6 volumes in 1979, which after 2 years of the conference. The paper and discussion topics are about the Islamic concept of education, methods of realizing the principles in practice, planning for the futures, reconciliation between orthodoxy and progress, and its implementations. What are the issues and crises happen in Muslim education that brought realizations among Muslim scholars? Okay, the first one is widespread ignorance and illiteracy. A Muslim cannot read or write. Second one is most of Muslim children do not have basic primary education. Next, technical and vocational education was available only at the basic level. And then trained teachers' equipment and textbooks were missing, so they have a lack of teaching material. Tertiary and university education were inadequate and restricted to basic teaching without any research. Curricula for schools, colleges, and universities were without clear goals and objective. Modern Muslim scholars suffered from chronic dependency and slavery of the mind, making them rely heavily on Western concepts. So their teaching is only rely on Western concept, not Muslim or Islamic concept. The quality of education at all levels was poor. So in conclusion, they didn't get a proper education, and their education also not promote Islamic vision. Okay, the next one is what are the objectives of this conference? The first one is to help the non-Muslim world to know Islam in true form. The second one is to help Muslims themselves to rediscover and reinforce the dynamics concept of education in their present-day circumstances. And the last one is to redefine the Islamic concept of education, thus leading the ways and means of creating the harmony and unity of body, mind, and soul for which Islam stands. There are 7 series of World Conference on Muslim Education. The first conference is at Mecca in 31st March until 8th April 1977. The second one is at Islamabad, Pakistan. The third one is at Dhaka, Bangladesh. And then Jakarta, Indonesia. Cairo, Egypt. Cape Town, South Africa. And the last one is at Shah Alam, Malaysia. Method for the first conference. The first one is setting up the subcommittee. based on different fields of studies. It means that there will be different subcommittee for different fields of studies, such as economics, education, science. So akan adanya subcommittee mengikut bidang of studies yang berbeza. Okay, the second one is design aims and objective of education related to different discipline such as philosophy, art, or Islamic studies. Okay, the last one is reframe the objective of education. For example, natural sciences aim to discover Allah's law of nature in order to carry out the duty as his vicegerent.
Okay, so Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and hi everyone. My name is Asunia Ulimfiati binti Ahmad. Okay, now it's my turn to present my slide. Okay, we go to the 9 recommendation 1 WCM. So what is meaning 1 WCM? So one for first WCM, World Conference on Muslim Education. So 9 recommendation for first World Conference on Muslim Education. Okay, number 1, aims of education. Number 2, classification of knowledge. And number 3, curriculum and syllabus, perennial knowledge. Number 4, curriculum syllabus, acquired knowledge. Number 5, education and society. Number 6, teacher education and requirement. And next, number 7, female education. 8, non-formal education for youth. And the last one, 9, Muslim minorities. First, aims of education. Education should aim at the balanced growth of the total personality of man through the training of man's spirit, intellect, his rational self, feeling, and bodily senses. The ultimate aim of Muslim education lies in the realization of complete submission to Allah on the level of the individual, the community, and human at large. All Muslim countries must necessarily implement Allah's Sharia and should mold the lives of people upon Islamic principles and values, because only then they should succeed in systematizing the education according to the aims. Okay, matlamat utama education ialah perlulah seimbang secara menyeluruh dari segi intelek, rasional dan sebagainya. Okay, matlamat utama pendidikan Muslim ialah taat kepada Allah, and then semua negara Islam perlulah melaksanakan syariah Islam based on Islamic principles and values. Okay, number 2, classification of knowledge and the system. They have 2 classification. Okay, first, perennial knowledge based on Quran and Sunnah and Arabic language. Second, accurate knowledge like social, natural, and applied science. Okay, next, number 3, curriculum and syllabus. Perennial knowledge. Okay, perennial study of Quran as the basic step. And then curriculum and books based on Quran Sunnah, QS for Quran Sunnah. And then fiqh should be linked with contemporary life. Next, comparative studies, Sharia and secular laws. Next, teaching Islamic culture. And the last one is Arabic and its method of teaching. Number 4, curriculum and syllabus for accurate knowledge. We have 5 literature. Number 1, literature, like Islamic School of Literary Criticism. Number 2, arts and craft, study of Islamic arts. Number 3, social science, based on Quran Sunnah. Number 4, applied science, reformulated in the spirit of Islam. And number 5, natural science, history of science and roles of Muslim. Okay, next recommendation. Number 5, education and society for non-formal education. Mass media programs. As we know, media masa ni mainkan sangat-sangat penting dalam menyebarkan sebarang maklumat. Okay, during pandemic COVID-19, media masa ni mainkan peranan sangat penting dalam aspek education. For example, ODL, Open and Distance Learning, iaitu pembelajaran secara talian. Okay, like this, Zoom, Google Meet, Zoom meeting. So the teachers and students can communicate, can interact to the others. And then, okay, next, architecture, city planning and Islamic atmosphere. Okay, and then number 6, teacher education and requirement. Teacher training inspired by true Islamic faith, and then teacher selection based on faith and behavior, and then equip teacher training college with facilities, and then good and promising students to be enrolled in teacher training college. And then number 7, female education. Men and women taught separately. Okay, we can see at the picture given, the right side for women students and the left side for men student. Okay, and then special female educational system. Okay, number 8, non-formal education for youth. Actual application of Islam in schools, such as like mosques, Islamic ethics and manners, and then suitable activities for the youth in line with the objective of Islamic society. Okay, and the last one, 9, recommendation is Muslim minorities. Through study of the condition of Muslim minorities and design educational policies to protect their rights, train and qualified teachers, and then centers for Arabic to non-Arabic speaking Muslim, fund for education. Muslim countries should become mediator Muslim minorities and their host countries. And the last one, bring them closer to the Muslim world at large. Okay, next, first WCOM, First World Conference on Muslim Education. Its influences on Muslim education. Rise of educational and intellectual institution and organization. Okay, we can see at the first, International Institute of Islamic Thought in Herndon, Virginia, United States of America in 1981. And then the World Center for Islamic Education is in Mecca under OIC, Organization Islamic Cooperation. And then International Islamic University Malaysia, IIUM. For information, IIUM was established in 1983. And then International Islamic University Islamabad at Pakistan. And then International Islamic University, Uganda at Africa, and then International Islamic University, Kushtia at Bangladesh. And the last one, Darul Ihsan University and Islamic University, Chittagong. Okay, that's all from our group. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and thank you for your attention. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and bye.